Rarely does a question display our country's problems better than this one. April 13th, 2013, live from the WRVA studios. We're Virginia citizens and American patriots and the only two-headed talk show in Richmond. My name is Scott Lee.
Hi, my name is Richard Lee. Thanks for joining us. Happy Saturday to you. It's going to be a really nice, beautiful day. If you're going downtown, you might want to avoid the majority of downtown. So many roads are closed because of the UCROP's 10K. There's 38,000 plus people running today, which I applaud them.
All right, Rand Paul showed up at Howard University. Got a question from a student that displays the problem with our country in ways, in better ways than we've ever been able to. And, you know, at Howard University, he kind of walked into the lion's den. Rand Paul did a great job of defending the conservative/libertarian positions, but he did get a question from one student at the end of the entire time he was there. At the very end, this is the final question that came up, and I can't believe it was missed by so many people. When I saw this, Richard and I saw this, we're like, did you hear the one thing that he said? As we played this clip for you, I want you to pick out the thing that just states exactly where our country is, specifically young people like him.
Good afternoon, Senator. My name is Keenan Glover. I'm an Administration of Justice major from Rochester, New York.
Okay.
A freshman as well. You say you want to provide a government that leaves us alone. Quite frankly, I don't want that. I want a government that is going to help me. I want a government that will help me fund my college education. I want a government that won't define me by my fast food nor by my family's income. I'm a dollar sign with a heartbeat in this nation. This society is mirrored image of Capitol Hill. Do you, Senator Rand Paul, have a formulated solution to come up with new American values so that the citizens of this nation have a worth of more than dead presidents and Ben Franklin?
Wow.
I'd say that is a prime example of what's wrong with this country.
It's
this young man's mindset.
So I want you to think about for a second. By the way, this is the one little aspect that came out of that. Here's the one little thing.
I want a government that is going to help me.
I want a government that's going to help me. And welcome to Barack Obama's world. Welcome to the new America. Welcome to the pop culture youth.
The greatest thing about this nation was you're free
to fail.
To do what you want.
And fail.
And if you fail, try again. If you get knocked down, get up and do it again. If you get knocked down, get up and do it again. Eventually, you won't get knocked down.
This is now a people. We are now a country. And I hate to say this, but I think it's true, that a majority of people feel like this kid. I don't want a government that leaves me alone. I want a government that helps me, that comes alongside and gives me things. Now, forget the fact that government can't give you anything without first taking from somebody. Forget that little fact. This kid actually is persuaded by many around him that government has a role to provide.
He's a result of what's wrong with the education in America. He's a direct result of an indoctrination program.
Exactly.
Now, all through his life, he's been indoctrinated into this belief. He wants to live in a socialist nation.
Essentially, yes.
That's exactly
He doesn't
what he's
know
describing here.
He
probably doesn't even realize
He doesn't even know what socialism is. He probably thinks, well, what's the problem with the government helping me? Well, the problem is what Thomas Jefferson said. The government that can give you everything has the power to take it all away.
Exactly.
And here's something you have to realize, how a politician answers this question. Now, we're not going to be able to play Rand Paul's answer for you because really it was kind of a hodgepodge here and there. It danced around. But the answer to this question, I hate to tell you, has already been debated and won. We have a constitution that limits the federal government from doing what this kid wants. It's already been settled. There's not a politician. It's not a bunch of ideas by 100 senators up there to decide what they want government should do. It's already been laid out for us. Yet this kid is so ignorant of that, and our voters are so ignorant of that fact that they literally come to every politician and ask for something.
You know what's kind of sad about this really is he's probably been voting for the candidates that are echoing exactly what he said. He probably got all this from candidates he's listening to that are promising all this garbage, knowing full well they can't deliver, but they say it so they can get the vote. And now he's mad at people like Rand Paul because they think he's the one that's not giving him what he wants, when in reality, these candidates never had any intention of delivering on all their promises.
They can't. They can't. Not only can they can't, but they certainly aren't even allowed to by what the federal government or the Constitution limits them to.
They can't deliver on these crazy promises and give this kid what he wants, and rightfully so. There's no way they will ever do it because this is America.
Well, here we find ourselves with this question that lays out the entire problem with our country. From a kid from Rochester, New York, who approached Rand Paul and said, look, you said you want a government to leave us alone. I quite frankly don't. I want something from my government. And there you have...
I want all I can get.
I want all I can get.
He's got his hand out, and that is truly what's wrong.
I want a government that is going to help me.
Exactly. Welcome to the new America. Now, your phone call's next on this, 345-1140. I want to hear what you think. How should Rand Paul have answered this kid? How would you have answered this kid? Do you know people like this that say, hey, I want government to do something for me? And isn't it funny how this is the conversation when the actually debate has ended? The Constitution has limited the federal government. If this kid wants help, he should lobby his state, not Rand Paul, who is powerless. Article 1, Section 8, Rand Paul is powerless, and this kid thinks he's owed something from the government. All right, 345-1140, your phone call's next. We'll continue this conversation and maybe even talk about Obama's budget, which has just more of the ridiculous stuff that appeals to kids like this. 7:15, sports, Leon Oliver.
Good afternoon, Senator. My name is Keenan Glover. I'm an Administration of Justice major from Rochester, New York.
Okay.
A freshman as well. You say you want to provide a government that leaves us alone. Quite frankly, I don't want that. I want a government that is going to help me. I want a government that...
Wow. So Rand Paul shows up at Howard University and gets a question that, quite frankly, displays our country problems better than anyone ever has. This kid says, hey, I want government to do something for me.
And that's our country's problems right there.
Exactly.
I want a government that is going to help me.
Tony in Highland Springs, you're on 1140 WRVA. Good morning.
Good morning, Scott Brothers. So good to hear you each week. Hey, listen, he should have told that student...
Lee Brothers.
I'm sorry, Lee Brothers, Scott. Got tongue-tied.
Could be Richard Brothers, I guess.
It could be, exactly.
No,
go ahead, Tony.
That really doesn't work. Go ahead.
Nervous on the phone. But he should have told that guy, he says, look, when you get a job, are you willing to give 50, 60, or 70% of your paycheck to pay for these things?
Good point.
And by the way, I heard something on your 7 o'clock news. We're asking Chinese waiters to keep North Korea in line. Is that right?
I don't know about that, but certainly
it might work.
It might work. But Tony, you're exactly right. I mean, this kid, once he realizes his income goes to these things, then what? Then what? Will you change? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Keith on 288, you're on 1140 WRVA. Welcome to the
Good
show.
morning, Lee Brothers.
Good morning.
Does this boy understand that for every one thing the government does for you is one less right you have to do for yourself?
Yeah, see,
you have an equal chance, you just don't have an equal outcome.
this is the new America, Keith. This is the America that says government needs to do something for me. I mean, you're exactly right, though.
This is the indoctrinated America.
This is where kids stand up and say, I don't care about freedom and liberty, Keith. I don't. I want safety. I want security from my government.
I blame the parents.
Or
it's your fault.
They should listen to the Lee brothers more.
Alexa and Gucciolin, you're on 1140 WRVA. Good morning.
I hate to say this, but I think he's in the wrong country. I think he needs to go to another country if he wants a government to take care of him.
And I bet if he went to another country that did all those wonderful things he was talking about, it wouldn't take too long for him to go, what have I done?
Right. And he'd have no money, no nothing. But I think he needs a taste of another government.
He'd have plenty of cheese and soup, probably.
Well, see, the thing is, this is the government he thinks he has. He actually thinks that he can ask a senator for these things. This is where our country is today. Not one of them say, wait a minute, constitutionally, the government can't pay for my college loans. It shouldn't do the federal government should not do these things. Yet this kid says, I want a government that doesn't leave me alone but takes care of me.
The sad thing is,
the trouble is we're in so much trouble.
He'll vote for the candidates that promise all this garbage that they never have any intention of delivering, and he'll get mad at the other candidates because he didn't get what this candidate promised. That's how it works. John in North Chesterfield, you're on 1140 WRVA. Welcome to the show.
Buenos dias, hermanos Lee.
This is John Lee.
Hey, this kid just amazes me. I think Rand Paul's answer should have been, excuse me, but you're not exactly describing the United States of America,
Exactly.
Number one. Number two, you're not exactly going along with what the Constitution says. You need to educate yourself there. And number three, please tell me where our federal government has done anything that has ever come in without costing 3, 4, 5, or 10 times more than what it is, and that you'll have to pay for it eventually in taxes.
You know what, John? You're exactly right. That's the perfect way to answer it. Unfortunately, Rand Paul didn't answer it that way. But yeah, I mean, what makes this kid think that the federal government should pay for his college? Which means what he's saying is, you, John, Richard, and me should pay for that kid's college.
Yep.
Where does that come from? Where does that come from?
Joe in Mechanicsville, you're on 1140 WRVA.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Underlying what you've been stating, the whole thing is the living constitution concept, which would allow it to be changed because it doesn't give everyone everything they want. And that's the real buzzword for all of this change, and that's what they're teaching in law school. That's what our buddy Barry learned. And number two, Rand Paul should have had a tape of JFK's "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country" in his pocket.
Ask
Push
not
play.
what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Exactly.
Well,
that's not what they want now, though, Joe. Kids today, they want a government to do something for them. Forget that the government doesn't have anything unless it takes from someone else. Jeez.